Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and today for my Ghostly Update vlog, I'm going to tell you guys a few funny stories that's happened to me recently. And then I'm going to get into some of the issues that people have been emailing me a lot lately. So I'm thinking a lot of you guys are going through this. Like, if you're not happy with certain things about your journey. And then I'm going to talk about towards the end, if you're not Hmong and you're not a Hmong shaman in particular, but you have magical powers. So we're going to get into that towards the end of this video. All right, so lately it's really funny, you guys, but I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually a gamer. I like to play a lot of video games. And for Christmas, I really got into the whole Pokemon Go Eevee. It's basically a video game on the Switch, and this is my first Pokemon game I've ever played. I've never played any other Pokemon games. But anyways, I've been playing an ungodly amount of Pokemon Go. It got to the point where on Sunday night, I started dreaming of Pokemons coming to talk to me. And these Pokemons were like showing me another Pokemon, but they were explaining things about this Pokemon, but it wasn't really about the Pokemon. It was about things in my life, and it was about people I knew in my life. And it was like some kind of spiritual being talking to me, but it was coming disguised as a Pokemon. So literally all night I kept waking up and seeing Pokemons, and it was terrible. So since Sunday night, tonight's Thursday, I have not touched Pokemon Go since then because I was like, girl, you've been playing too much video games. You need to cut it out. So yeah, I'm trying to take a break from that. And then it was really funny because just last night, you guys, last night I had this hilarious, weird experience. So as you guys know, in the past videos, I talked about how I sleepwalk. So I also have like outer body experiences where I'm like watching myself as I'm sleeping and I'm doing things. So last night I was watching myself. I was sleeping, but I was dreaming of seeing myself laying in bed. And then I saw this ghost come. And this ghost came up over my face. And in real life, I started growling and I started biting the air like I was trying to bite the ghost. And literally the ghost got scared and it ran away. It was so weird. Imagine waking up to you growling and biting the air. Like I was literally waiting to like feel something that I was going to bite on. It was so freaking weird. And then I had this ghost in my car. Okay. A lot of times when I have spirits who are trying to contact me because they want to talk to me, they will do things to harass me. And there is this spirit that's been in my car that keeps changing the radio station when I'm trying to listen to it and I'm really interested. It'll change it. And then I always have to switch it back and it'll do it again. And we're like fighting on the station. So anyways, this thing is a man. Only does it when I'm driving by myself. If I'm with my boyfriend, if somebody else is in the car and we're listening to the radio, never ever happens. I get so irate. So then the other day I finally just yelled at it. Because at first I was kind of like, whatever, and I just keep changing the station, keep fighting to change the station back and forth. And then finally the other day I was really irritated because my favorite song came on and then it was trying to change the station again. So then I yelled at it, and after I yelled at it, it hasn't happened since. So yeah, that's kind of my update. All right, so this next part, it's going to be about people who are really unhappy. So I've been getting a lot of emails lately, you guys, about people who are really unhappy, shamans, Hmong shamans, who are really unhappy with their teacher, the way their shrine looks, how things are going. So I just want to let you guys know, and with all of that, they were talking about how unhappy and angry they were and how upset they were. So you guys know, because I've mentioned it, spirit guides have emotions. They have feelings. And when it is your spirit guide, you feel it so much worse. And it's really unrealistic because if you really sit down and think about it, it shouldn't make you that angry. But you are so heated when it happens. So you need to learn that if you're a shaman and you have these spirit guides, you are actually referred to as mom or dad. So, because I'm a woman, they would call me Ma. So, also keep that in mind, you guys. You are the parent of these children. Your spirit guides are your children. They can be naughty. So, if you have a teacher and you don't like how they're teaching you things, like they don't let you do certain things and you don't know why, and they don't really explain it to you, or you don't like how they did your shrine, it looks hideous. It's nothing at all what your spirit guides want, You need to understand that this is to help you. Until you become a full-fledged shaman, you don't really have a say in anything. Okay? Until you can prove to them that you know what you're doing, you can heal people, you can save people, you don't have a say in it. So like a lot of people, like my lineage, for example, my lineage does not use flowers. But my spirit guides, they like flowers, white flowers in particular. But I don't have flowers on my shrine because my spirit guides, my lineage doesn't have flowers. We don't do that. And that's okay, because you need to learn how to teach your spirit guides that right now, this is what you need. This is a person who's going to help you. If you don't listen to this person, also known as your teacher, they're going to drop you. Because if you don't have flowers in your shrine, but you really, 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 really want flowers, and you go and you put flowers on there, right? Internally, you feel amazing. You feel happy. Your teacher comes over and sees these random flowers, they're going to drop you like nothing. And then you're going to be alone, and no teacher is going to want you because they're going to find out that you were a bad student and your teacher left you because you didn't listen. No other shaman teacher is going to want you. So you have to understand, when you are still under the umbrella and you are still under the protection of somebody, you need to listen to them. Afterwards, after they have raised you and you have established that you know what you're doing, you know how to do these ceremonies, you know how to fix people, then you can change it up however you want. You can even go and find a different teacher if you want to. There are shamans who have more than one teacher in their lifetime. And this is when they've already finalized and have become a full-fledged shaman. They will go and find another one and then start the whole process over again with their existing knowledge, of course. So keep that in mind. Don't get all gung-ho and, your panties twisted, basically, because you have to understand that these are basically stepping stones until you are established on your own. And so with that, all I'm going to say now is just know that you need to learn how to control your spirit guides and the emotions they try to push on you. So you need to learn how to be tough with them. And if you have to be mean, you have to be mean. Because the problem with a lot of beginning shamans, they put too much faith, too much trust, too much everything into their spirit guides. Because everybody is teaching them, you don't have these gifts unless your spirit guides teach you, unless your spirit guides give it to you. That's true, but you also need to know how to control your spirit guides. Because if your spirit guides control you as a shaman, you will fail. Absolutely fail. Because your spirit guides, they don't know how to always think for themselves. They only know how to think how they were born to think. Let me rephrase that. So if, like how I always tell you guys, how sometimes it seems like I have two split personalities, because I have the type who gets very, very scared, and then the type is very strong and very like general warrior type of person, right? If I only let one lead, I would be crazy. I am the individual who owns all of them. I need to know how to control both of them. Because if one's always like kill, 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 they're going to try to kill the other side. That's basically it. But then if you always listen to the sympathetic one, the futuristic one, they're always going to tell you, no, no, no. And then you're never going to do what the other side is telling you to do. And then all of a sudden you're going to get hit by something because the other side was warning you and telling you, you need to do this right now. But the other side's like, no, we must not do this. This is not our way. You will go crazy. Like, you need to learn how to handle them, all of them. Even if you are just the Zhuzhang type, the killing type, you need to learn how to control them. Because even if you have like the potential to do all these things, to kill all these demons, but you don't know when to wake them up, when to get them working, and when to stop. Because imagine if you are fighting all these demons and then you actually go and you hit the family's spirits. What are you going to do then? So you need to know how to control both sides. And I will tell you guys, this side is the worst side. The side that's always like telling you the future. And the reason for that is because they tell you a lot of riddles. And you have to know how to decipher the riddles because they've already given you the answer. But then they will give you all of this other nonsense and you have to figure it all out. So you need to learn how to control all parts. And that is how you become a successful shaman. Because if you only listen to one side, or you always listen to your spirit guides in general, they're going to lead you wrong. And you need to know how to tell them no. Even if they're unhappy, they will never be super upset with you because all they want is for you to actually succeed, for you to be happy, and for you to be proud of them. So what you can do to really upset them, and you'll end up feeling really sad, is if you are not satisfied enough with the gifts that you currently have. If all you're doing is searching for more gifts, the existing ones that you have will feel like they're not good enough for you, and then they'll become sad. But again, that's something that you're doing. But if you get mad at them and yell at them about them trying to do something or something like that, they will listen to you. And that's just it. Now, this next part, we're going to talk about those who are not, in particular, Hmong shamans. Okay? So it's funny because a lot of my videos, they are catered more towards Hmong shaman things because I was one and that's what my expertise is in. But it's because a lot of my viewers ask me those type of questions. I have a lot of Hmong viewers, but I know I also have viewers who are not Hmong. I don't want you guys to feel like these videos and these stories and experiences, they can't relate to you, because a lot of you might feel that you have these type of connections, you have these type of things, but you also know you're not Hmong, and you also know that it's not really like a shaman thing. Like it's not as insane as everything else I've been explaining, okay? So I'm just going to refer to it as magical powers because it's not, So in particular, there was an individual who wrote to me, and I had to explain it to her that they have a type of lineage that's like a witch in their family line. And I didn't want to use the term witch because witch seems kind of Wiccan, kind of like, and it could be anybody who has like, they follow, if they do voodoo, if they do any other type, if they just in general have like Reiki or any type of magical powers, that is what I'm just referring to. So I'm not going to be saying it's like a witch or like a warlock or anything like that. You can be a man or a woman. So I do from time to time, very seldom, but I do, and it's amazing when I do get emails from people who are not Hmong, and they just have questions for me in general. And I have this really long email of a ton of questions I will be getting to in future videos. But one of the ones that stood out to me was basically, and the reason why I choose to address certain questions is because I think it applies to a broader group of people. And it's basically, do you need religion to have magical powers, to hone these magical powers? And do you always need a teacher? So you do not need a religion, just so you guys know that. Because there's a lot of people out there who have studied religions, or they've tried different religions just to see which one's really going to suit them the best. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of people out there who dabble in different religions and different types of, they study it just to see if it's something that calls out to their soul. Like, you just go out there and study. Like, I don't do that. The only one I ever did was Wicca, because I was trying to escape the shaman world, and I was trying to see if Wicca was something that I could apply to, because I thought for a time that I needed a religion, and maybe that's what was missing. And I realized Wicca was not for me, but and I'll tell you guys why. And this is not in any shape, way, or form to make fun of Wiccans, because I actually know a few. So it's really funny because I found what I discovered right away. People who follow Wicca, they get really, what's the word? Nervous about telling people their religion. And I think it's the whole Hollywood extreme, crazy connotations with Wicca and Wiccans. Like, people think that it's like Charmed and it's like like Halloween all the time. It's just, people, they actually don't really understand the religion, but people are really amazed when I'm very interested, because they automatically assume people are going to make fun of them or think that they're crazy, like, but I can totally understand that. But I wish that we lived in a world where people weren't afraid of whatever religion they followed, and telling people, because it's something that is really private and people hold very dear to themselves, and so it takes a lot, I guess, for them to like say it and be open about it. And I can see why, they don't want to be ridiculed. But, I don't tell people I was a shaman only because I don't want everybody knocking down my door. Like that's the only reason. But, it's something I'm definitely very proud of that I've gone through in my life. So I'm going to share with you guys why I couldn't follow Wicca. And probably because I was a shaman and it's been ingrained in me. But anyways, so it was basically at the end of the day, it didn't call out to me. It wasn't like, and when you guys think about like anybody who has magical powers and they're trying to do, and I'm just going to call it a ritual. It could be including a spell. Rituals don't always have to include spells though, just so you guys know. But spells, what is it? It's you verbally saying words to invoke certain magic. That's what a spell is. So you don't always need a spell. You don't always need to verbally invoke it though. You can do certain things to symbolize certain things. And rituals is basically all symbolic. And that's what I also gathered from Wicca because I found that there was a lot of similarities. However, with Wicca, they also call out to certain deities like gods and goddesses. And things face certain direction and candles are certain colors and they put things under the moon to regain energy and all that stuff, right? So they all have like their own traditions. And what I kind of discovered, and I mean, there's not a huge community about it here in Minnesota, but I'm just going to say that this is what I gathered from the many books I read and from the group that I met, you guys. So the group that when I met them, they focus heavily on spells that they do, but these are like, imagine a bunch of shamans coming together and all we talk about is the words we use when we do the same ritual. So let's say, for example, hupli, the calling of the spirit. That's the easiest one. That's why I keep saying it. And it can be taught to other people who are not shamans. So anybody could do it. You don't even have to be Hmong and you could do just letting you guys know, you do not have to be Hmong and you can do the calling the spirit ritual. So Hmong shamans, and I think this is why it didn't connect with me. Hmong shamans, we do not come all together and share our verses on what we say when we are calling of the spirit. Some lineages, I will correct myself, there are some lineages who record it and then they go back and they listen to it over and over and over. They repeat every single word, right? But my lineage in particular, we don't do that because we're not allowed to. It's basically your spirit guides, they have to teach it to you or else you can't do it. You just don't know it. That's kind of how it is. And the reasoning behind that is with a spell, what is it? Again, words to invoke certain types of magical powers. When you say certain words, they have to mean certain things to you to invoke this type of power. And so what I gathered from the Wiccan meetings, all they did was swap spells. And that was something that was a no-no for me, where I'm like, I don't want your spell. Like, because to me, if this was a spell I was meant to do or that I could be really good at it, it should have just came to me. I should have known the words. I should have known what to say. But I know not everybody's like that. And I know this is not how the Wiccan community is. In particular, what I'm saying, it's just that's what I took from it. And that is what didn't sit well with me. And I realized all they were focusing on was just rituals and spells. And they would practice rituals and spells. And then they would come back after a couple of days to let them know if this really worked or if this didn't work. And they would keep a book of spells, like a literal book of spells. And how people pray and they say certain prayers, basically. It's like that, like the Bible is a book of spells, but but those are prayers for them and verses, and teachings. But for my lineage, we don't record, we don't write down what we say and do. It's in that moment that power will come out of you and you know what to say. So that's why it didn't sit well with me and that's why it didn't work for me. But I understand it, and I understand why a lot of people do it, and it does great things for them because it works for them. But that's why I didn't do Wicca. So going hand in hand, you guys don't need a religion to have magical powers, basically. Because if you guys remember, I grew up Lutheran. I was raised going to church, and then as I got older, I was introduced to the Hmong Shaman community. I didn't like it. Not at all. I hated it. I thought it was demonic. I thought it was crazy. Everything about it was like loud and annoying. Because, I went to this pretty beautiful looking church with amazing food and you dressed your best. And then you go to like this shaman ritual and it's nothing what you thought. And it goes hand in hand that, shamans, even like me, we're not holier than thou people. We are just humans. We are humans. So I'm always stressing to people, don't put shamans on a pedestal just because we have a strong connection and link to the spirit world, we're just like everybody else, you guys. We make mistakes. And even with the shaman community, we have certain teachings that your spirit guides will tell you, but your own teacher doesn't tell you. Your own teacher is not going to sit there and lecture you on the way of life. Like, they don't give you a book of spells. They don't give you a book of like teachings so that you can apply it to your life to live and be a holier than thou person. They don't. Some shaman teachers will teach you how to just protect yourself, how to fight and defeat other shamans, how to send things to other shamans, how to look into what other shamans are doing, how to tell if another shaman's talking about you. Everybody has different types of teachings, but even for myself as a shaman teacher, I don't sit there and teach my student the way of the heavens and the world. It's not that type of religion. The only religious part about it is for the shaman and for the people who come to seek the shaman's help. And we are not, like how people who go to church, they go out there trying to get new members. They try to recruit people to come. We don't do that. So we tell you to go to church. In our culture, how shamans will help you, you have to beg the shaman for help. The shaman does not offer you help, okay? The shaman's not going to walk around looking for clients, okay? Like, we don't do that. We pretend we're not a shaman until somebody has given you the secret code, you find our number, and you somehow call us, and you found where we live. You come knocking and banging down our door. We'll open it begrudgingly, and then you will bow. Literally, people bow down to our shrines where our spirit guides live and beg for help. Then we're like, oh man, now I gotta help you. Seriously. That's what shamans do. Okay. There are a lot of shamans who are not like me. There are a lot of shamans who like helping. Okay. It's not that I don't like helping people. Oh my God. There are shamans who really love having their name out. Because they're really good at what they do. And they love that people come and ask them. And they have like a huge clientele list. And their phone is always ringing off the hook. And they make tons of money off of it. Believe me. I don't want to live that life. So, hand in hand. And before we go on to the next question, I'm just going to say that, there was a time where I didn't follow any religion. But magical stuff was still happening to me. And I did not have any following with shamanism at all, you guys. I didn't know anything about the shaman world, but magical things were still happening to me. So just know you don't have to follow an actual religion to hone and have magical gifts. Okay, and it sounds really ridiculous that I keep saying magical gifts, but I don't know what else to call it. Supernatural powers. Does that kind of sound worse? Because I swear it's because Hollywood has like kind of ruined it with like making it seem really cheesy, basically. But all of those abilities, you can actually hone them. But that's going to lead us up to the next question of, do you actually need a teacher? So I'm just going to let you guys know right away for Hmong shamans. The tradition And remember, tradition is not the same as the religion, okay? The tradition, I'm trying to make sure you guys understand that. The tradition is that you need a teacher, because in the Hmong community, it's all about who you know, and it's all about who you're related to, and it's all about your reputation. So imagine if I was a shaman, but I never had a teacher. I just, bam, knew the information. People would be very, very suspicious of me. And I guess it all goes down to why are you trying to become a shaman? Why are you wanting to become a shaman? Is it so that kanyatao, which means you as a person can live and be fine on, like, because, like for us shamans, Hmong shamans, if we don't do it, we get harassed by the spirit world like crazy. It drives us crazy, you guys. You will go through insane obstacles. And so a lot of shamans will just accept it, but they'll pretend they're not a shaman and they'll live a really normal life in the outside world. But at home, they'll practice it and they'll do it just so they can be okay, so that they're not going mentally crazy or physically, ill. So, and then there are those who really want to make a name for themselves. They want to really help the community. They really want to be a reliable source for people who need them, right? So it's all about why you're trying to do it. So, and this leads up to if you need a teacher, okay? The reason why you need a teacher is because in the Hmong shaman world, the teacher watches you to make sure you're not going crazy. Because if you're going crazy, your teacher has to know how to prevent it from happening and how to saw your koning, which means clean or, make sure they're okay, leading you right. So, because if one day you go to your teacher and you're telling her all this crazy stuff and your teacher's like, oh my God, my student's gone crazy. Like, they should know how to take care of it. And also you'll end up getting more respect, because if your teacher ends up, you really end up connecting with your teacher realizes, oh, you know a lot of stuff. I can rely on you in the future to help me. Your teacher will come to you for services. And that is the best, highest reward you can have, basically. When your own teacher now comes to you for help, like, that is the best. So, and then what ends up happening is that's how a lot of people start hearing about you, because your teacher will start talking about you, and then your teacher will bring you around other ceremonies, and then that's really how you get to get your name out there, if that's what you're trying to do. Now, having a teacher is kind of like doctors who go to prestigious colleges. So if you have a prestigious teacher, basically a prestigious college, and really the teacher doesn't teach you nothing, okay? So like, the teacher will teach you like certain rituals, like what you have to do, where you place things, but all of the verses should come from you, unless you are the lineage where you record it, okay? With that being said, it's kind of like, oh my God, like this new doctor went to all these amazing prestigious schools. People just automatically associate you with being a great shaman because of maybe who your teacher was, and when people talk about you and great things, right? But the thing is, if nobody knows you and you never had a teacher, you just sprung up one day and you're a shaman, people will start to question it. People will look into your background and people will start to be like, oh, like, they're not trusting. Don't go to that person, and, just because you have a prestigious teacher or you went to a prestigious college, it doesn't mean you're amazing, though. So you could be somebody who doesn't have a great teacher, or you had a rocky start, but you are amazing at your skill set. But it will be a lot harder for you to break into that market if that's what you're trying to do. Because a lot of people who have special abilities, they like to make money off of it. It is a well-known fact, okay? So even for me to have a teacher, I have to pay a fee. And, with magical powers, if you're trying to hone it and go to a master, you have to pay a fee. And just to let you guys know off the bat, my lineage, it's $100 flat fee for the first shrine. The second shrine, it is $400. The third and final shrine, it is another $400. So the whole lineage to become a full-fledged shaman with myself and my shaman lineage it is $900. But you pay the fee when you get to those shrine levels. And on the on the third shrine, you have to give the teacher an extra $130 for like clothes, because my teacher did that. So the whole clothes thing, if in case anybody's wondering, my teacher had taught me that when you graduate your final shrine, you have to give clothes to your teacher, which traditionally you would have to get them measured and then actual clothes sewn for them. And these are clothes that your teacher would wear into the spirit world. And it kind of represents that, your teacher went through a really hard time and raised you. Their clothes are now worn and torn. That's kind of what it represents. And since now you are a full-fledged shaman, you're gifting to your teacher new clothes because you've worn and torn all their clothes. That's kind of what it represents. But then my teacher was like, I don't need you to buy me clothes. You can just pay me $130 because that's kind of how much it would cost to get new clothes sewn for her. So then you would just pay $130. And she said the same thing would happen to me for my student. If I don't want them to have me measured and to get me brand new clothes, then they will just pay me $130 on top of the $400 for the final shrine. So now what happens basically if you get to the second shrine level, but you struggle and you suddenly just stop and you can't get to your third level, I can drop you as a student so you can go and find your true other teacher, but I will not return the $400 for the second shrine and the $100 from the first shrine. But you will not have to pay me the remainder amount. Does that make sense? So I have heard of lineages where it's very expensive. It could be up to $3,000 to $5,000. But just know if you end up paying that amount in the future, you charge your own students that amount. You can never charge less than that because it would be a disservice to your teacher. So I'm telling you, everything's about prestigiousness and how it all follows each other. So, do you need a teacher? There is a saying about the rule and the exception. Now, when I say this, you guys, be very, very aware. I am telling you, you are not the exception. All right, because I don't want everybody to hear the story and be like, oh my God, I'm the exception. You are the rule. So the rule is that you need a teacher. Any magical powers, you need a teacher. The exception is that you don't need a teacher. So what defines the exception? The exception is basically people who can easily interact, see, and talk, and hear back a response from spirits. You don't need a teacher. Because the spirits will show you everything and you can do it all on your own. Now, if you can't do all that I just listed, you need a teacher. Because it literally, go out to the woods or something. I don't care where you go. To your living room, to your car. And you, right then and there, call out to a spirit. In your head, imagine what you want to do. And then you think about what the spirit's name is. Call them out. See if they come to you. See if you hear a response back. And then tell them what you're trying to do. And see if the spirit is willing to show it to you. If the spirit is willing to show it to you and they show it to you, you go out and you do that ritual, you practice it, and it works. You don't need a teacher. So that might sound kind of unrealistic, but it's possible. And that's the thing. So if I wanted to know how can I do something, my spirit guides will come and just tell me and show it to me. So and that started since I was a kid. I didn't know I was doing it though. I didn't know what I was doing. Like things would just come talk to me. And I don't know why I would always talk back. But it didn't scare me. Like I knew it wasn't something scary. And I knew that I was okay. Even if this weird looking ghost was talking to me. I don't know. I've already told you guys I'm weird. You've already established that, so we're just going to get over it. So it seems like a lot of magical abilities. If you want to hone it, you need a teacher. But some people, through time and just practicing, trying to read up on what they can, they will try to understand the theory behind it and try to hone it themselves. So that is when you don't need a teacher. But, if you're trying to make money off of it, A lot of people, they will like to have a teacher. That is the answer, a long video just to answer those questions so you guys can get an understanding of it. So, even if you're really unhappy with your teacher right now, just imagine you without a teacher. Can you do it? Do you know how to raise your final level? Do you know all of the steps required? And as I'm saying this, I'm seeing all the steps. Do you know all of the steps required to get you to your final level? Because if you do, go on and drop your teacher. Tell her or him you're leaving them. And then go and do it. Like no one's stopping you. So just think of that when you're really unhappy. That, you may be unhappy right now, but you could be coming off as ungrateful. And just imagine them not being there helping you. What would you do? Because there are a lot of people who are trying to start their shaman journey, but they can't because they don't have the help. They don't have anybody who's willing to do anything. They don't even have the funds to actually pay for a teacher. They may have found the teacher, but they can't afford the teacher fee. Teachers don't give out loans, you guys. It doesn't matter what magical power this is. Nobody is going to give you an IOU or a loan. Like, oh, you can't pay the $5,000 fee? Well, I'll teach you half of the magic powers. And then later on, you can pay the rest. No, they won't teach you nothing until they get the full amount. So just remember that, you guys. Hmong shaman religion, I just want to make a note. It is very expensive. Very expensive. And I think as people think about what is just the fee for a teacher, the teacher, like if you came to me and I became your teacher, I would tell you all the things I would need. You have to spend money on all of that. I mean, you have to get a shelf built. You have to buy all the tools. You have to buy all the animals required. You have to buy all the food. And you have to pay my fee. So, and you have to come pick me up. So it's just, it is, like, imagine, like, I remember hearing my teacher tell me about students out of state. Her students out of state had to pay for her air flight. It's even more expensive than you guys. So these are all things to think about. Any magical powers you're trying to learn from a teacher, there is a fee. Doesn't matter what it is. And just because you pay a fee, it doesn't mean, just so you guys know, this applies to everybody, not just Hmong shamans. Don't expect you're going to get everything you wanted out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because some people think that, I put all this money, I put all this, everything I have into this, I better come out amazing at the end. It's all about what you take away from it and how much you connect to the knowledge and the information that's shared to you. So you might meet this person and you think that this master is going to be amazing. They're going to teach you everything. And they're nothing like what you had expected. They could care less about you. That can happen. And just be aware that can happen. Don't expect all these teachers are dying to teach you and share their knowledge. Okay. No, there's not a lot of them. And most teachers will turn you away even if you did find them. Because it's a lot of work raising somebody. It's a lot of work. Y'all have no idea. It is a lot of work. And it's a lot of patience, And so, because I think for me, I'm a very impatient person. So if I had a student who wasn't getting it, I'd be more inclined just to drop them. Because I'm not going to waste your time and you're not going to waste my time. So I will just drop somebody. Because if you're not getting it and it's not coming to you easily the way it did for me, I don't have time for it. It's just, you need to find somebody else because somebody else will have time for it, or you will just connect better with that person because I'm not going to drag you on. I'm not going to force you into your final levels just so you pay me the full fee and then I'm going to drop you anyways. Because once you pay me the full fee, I'm no longer your teacher. In passing, you will tell people, oh, I was your teacher. But if something happened to you, that's not my problem. You want me to help you? Even though I used to be your teacher, you have to pay me a fee like everybody else pays me a fee. But the thing is, when you are not a full-fledged shaman, whenever you do need help, your teacher helps you without you having to pay a fee. So, all things to keep in mind. So when you have a teacher, make sure you ask them for everything. All right, you guys. Super long video. Have a good night, you guys. Until next time.